Hi, welcome to this video on VLOOKUP, and we're going to be covering right from the basic to some of the advanced features in VLOOKUP. We're going to be looking at how do we get data from multiple tables. We're going to show some tricks on how do we use a single VLOOKUP to retrieve multiple data, etc. So that's what we will be looking at. Now, before we get into looking at the formula, let us understand what is VLOOKUP or why do we use a VLOOKUP. So first of all, VLOOKUP stands for vertical lookup. So they're similar to VLOOKUP. There is also HLOOKUP, which is horizontal lookup. So let me give you the scenario. The scenario is, let's assume I want to find out the location for this particular employee ID. So one way is I'll have to go here, click on Control C, go to my original data or where the table is and find out the information and then paste it here. So to avoid that, you can use the VLOOKUP. You can get the data based on some lookup information from some other table and you can drag it down and then it is going to work. So that is VLOOKUP. And here is the syntax. So VLOOKUP requires four things for it to work. One is the lookup value. And then you have the comma. Next, it requires the table array, then the comma, the column index, and of course the range lookup. So if you see this in square bracket, which means it is optional. Even if you don't put it, it is going to work. So it is going to consider a default value, which is an exact match. Now, what is lookup value? You see, what will you use to search? Yeah, so that is your lookup value. What are you going to use to search? The table arrays, where are you going to look for that information? The column indexes, which column do you want to return? And of course, match type. Do you want it to be an exact match or an approximate match? So let us look at the first example, which is the basic example, and let's look at the syntax. So now, like we mentioned here, I want to find out the location. Now, for which employee? For this particular employee ID. Okay, for this employee ID, I want to find out the location. So this is my lookup value. This is what I'm going to use. And where am I going to look for this information? In another sheet, another table, which is my employee data table. Okay, so from here, I have the employee ID and I want to get the location for that particular employee ID. So let's look at the syntax. So syntax is equal to VLOOKUP, the lookup value, which is my lookup value. What am I going to use? I'm going to use this, comma. Where is my data? The data is in a different sheet. It could either be in a different sheet or even a different workbook, and then it is going to work. And in our case, it is in a different sheet. So I'm going to go to the sheet. In this case, where is it? It is in employee data. I'm going to click that. And then I'm going to select the table. See, I've done with my lookup value. You will see this table array is highlighted. So I'm going to select this complete table because where is this information? This information is available in that table or in this particular table. And here is a common mistake that happens. So once we do this, usually what I've seen people do is they go back to the other sheet. Don't do that. Put the comma here. Stay here. Put the comma here itself. And what do I want? I want locations. Location is which column? If I'm considering this table, this is column 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So this is column number 6. So that is the column index number. So I'm going to put 6. And like I mentioned, if I don't put comma 0 at the end, it is still going to work because Excel is going to put that comma for us. But for best practices, comma 0. What? I want an exact match. I don't want an appropriate match, and that is false. So sometimes you will also see people typing in false, or you can also use 0. Okay, so false, close bracket, hit enter, and now you will see I've got the location. And then I can drag it down. So for each of these employees, I've got my location. Similarly, now let me show you for the experience in year. So is equal to VLOOKUP. What is the value that I'm going to use? I'm going to use this comma. I'm going to go to that table here. So in this case here, I'm going to click on that sheet and then select my table or data here, comma, my column index. Again, don't go to the other sheet here itself. So which is this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Experience is column number 7. So 7, comma, 0 at the end. 7, comma, 0 at the end. hit enter, and now you will see I've got experience in years. I can drag it down and it'll work. So this is the first basic example. Now, some of the challenges that will be there here is, let me show you this by copying this data into the same sheet. I'm going to go to my employee data. I'm going to copy this. Yeah. I just need this for now. So I'm going to copy that. I'm going to paste that here. Okay. So now it's not in a different sheet, but in the same sheet. And now let us try this. So it's equal to VLOOKUP. What is my lookup value? This, comma. And now where is my table? This is my table. I'm going to select that, comma. What is my column index? So I need location. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Location is 6, 6, comma, 0. Okay. Now, if I don't fix this, so the table array, so you will see there's something called as an absolute reference and a relative reference. So usually in Excel, or not usually, by default, in Excel, the formulas are a relative reference, which means if I drag it down, this is going to change. So B3 is going to change to B4 and L2 is going to change to LQ. Let me click here and you will see this is the data. Okay. And now if I drag it down, see what happens. Everything changes. What do I mean by everything changes? See, B3 changed to B4, changed to B5, B6. Similarly, what is happening? My L2 is changing, L2 Q12 is changing to L3 Q13, L4 Q14. So it is changing like that. And now if I click on the formula bar, you will right now, we are not getting an error. You will know why, baby, because the data is like this. If I click on the formula bar here, you can see, right? As we are moving down, this is moving down as well. So there will be an instance after a certain point of time, this is going to be completely outside the table. And let me show you. I'm just going to drag it down here. See this? Let's come here and you will see now the reference is completely outside. So even if I put E001, you will see I'm not getting anything. Why? Because this is looking up for this information in this table. So do you see E001 is here? It is not there. It will retrieve only this. So in this case, what do we need to do? We need to lock our table. We need to lock our table. How do we lock that? Let me show you once again. So is equal to VLOOKUP. This is my lookup value, comma. There are different ways to lock it. First, I'll show you the common way. So I've selected this, and now either I finish the formula and then apply the absolute referencing or dollar or F4, or I can finish it and then do it, or I can do it now itself. So how do I do it now only? So I select these two. What do I need to lock? I want to lock this. I want to ensure that this does not move. So I select both of them. How am I selecting? I'm just selecting using my mouse. And I'll press F4. On certain keyboards, F4 might not work. You might not get the dollar. So you might have to press F and F4. Comma. Now the column index. Oops, that's gone. Okay. Let's do that again. So is equal to VLOOKUP. What is my lookup value? This is my lookup value, comma, my table. Okay. Comma. I will put the dollar at the end. Which column do I want? Location. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Location is 6, comma, 0 at the end. I'll hit enter. Once that is done, I will change or I will fix this. I will select this now, press F4. And now if I drag it down, you will see the B3 changes, all of that changes. However, this is fixed. Just to show you that if I click here, you will see it is always going to look up here. It is always going to lock this here. But then the B is going to change. So started with B3, it moved to B12. Right, so let's do this for experience. So is equal to VLOOKUP. And what is my lookup value? I'm going to come to the left. And now I'm going to use the arrow keys to show you this. So is equal to VLOOKUP. How do I select this formula? By pressing the tab key. I need to look up the employee ID. Employee ID is where? Here. How do I come here using the keyboard? I'm going to use the left arrow. You'll see it's here. Left, 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 left. Okay, that. Comma. My table array. How do I select my table array? Where is my table array? It's on the right. So I'm going to go right. Okay. How do I select this? Control Shift down. So you will see it is going to select and jump till down. I also wanted to jump to the right, select and jump to the right. So Control Shift right. Okay, now I want you to notice another thing. I don't know if you're able to see this. Okay, now that's gone. Comma, I need experience. I know location was 6, so this is 7, comma 0 at the end. And what do I need to lock? I need to lock this. I'm going to select this and press F4, hit enter, and done. Okay. Now let's look at the rating. This rating is in a different sheet here, right? So I'm going to do VLOOKUP. What is my lookup value? This is my lookup value, comma, my table array. I'm going to go here and I want you to notice this, right? When I'm dragging, I don't know if you're able to notice this tooltip here that is coming. Okay, that 10R 2C, if you're able to see that, right? If I move here, it is 1C. If I move to the right, 2C. So what does this mean? It means 10 rows and the second column. So I know now what do I want? I want the rating. Rating is in which column? I can see 2. And this is helpful. I mean, when the data is small like this, it doesn't make sense. But imagine when you have large data set like this. So you can quickly recognize the column just by doing this. You can see it says 15th column. So whatever data is here is in the 15th column. Right now, I just need the second column. So I'm here. I've selected my data, comma, 2, comma, 0. And what do I need to lock? I need to lock this. I don't want this to move. Yeah. F4. Hit enter, and now you'll see I've got the rating for each of these employees. Let me delete this. I delete this. So just going to, how do I select this entire one? Another shortcut key for this is I'm going to press Shift spacebar, Control minus, and that's delete. So this is option 1. Now, is there another way for me to lock the table? And there's another advantage of using this. Okay. For our example, let's assume we're going to lock this. How do we lock it? Is by giving it a name. I'm going to give a name for this entire table. How do I do that? I'm going to select this entire table. I've selected this entire table and I want to give this a name. What would be an ideal name for this? I'm going to call this as employee table. Okay. How do I give a name? So if you see here, this is the name box. I'm going to click in the name box and type EMP TABLE, employee table. And now you will see it's selected. So if I go back here in this drop down, you will see EMP table. This is my EMP table. And this is another way for you to lock it, because when you reference EMP table, it is always going to look up here. Okay. So now with drop down, and I'm also going to create one for the drop down. Okay. I want to give a name for this range of cells. Okay. What will be a good name for this range of cells? I will call this as EMP ID. Okay. EMP ID. So I have two names now. One is EMP ID, that is for this range of cells, and I have employee table, that is for this range of cells of this complete table. So now let us find out using dropdown. I want to get all of these information. Okay, I want to get all of these information. Date of joining is not there. Let me delete that. Good. Okay. So I want to first create a dropdown here. So whatever is the employee ID is select here. I want to get all of these details. So first, how do we create a dropdown? Okay, I'm going to select a range of cells, also referred to as data validation. I'm going to select this range of cells and I'm going to press Alt-A-V-V. Alt-A-V-V. Okay, V for validation, right? V and V. So it is going to open this. If you can't do that, that's under the data ribbon. You will see this is validation. I'm going to click on that and I have data validation. So right now, what does Excel do? It is saying it will allow any value. We don't want that. We want to get what? We want to give them a list of what employee IDs. Okay, so I'm going to select not any value, but list. Now, the advantage of giving a name, if you remember, I'd given a name for my employee IDs. If you remember it, you can type it. If you don't remember, you can press F3 key and it will give you all the names that you have used. See the name. What is the name that I've done? Employee ID. Okay, I will select that, click OK. So now you'll see is equal to EMP ID. So what will this do? In this list, it is going to give us all the employee IDs. Click OK, and now you will see I have a drop down with the employee IDs. Okay. And now I'm going to say is equal to VLOOKUP. What is my lookup value? What am I going to use? This, comma. Now, if you remember, what did we do? We also gave a name for our table. What was the name? EMP table. So now this will directly reference. So I don't have to go to the sheet, select the data. That's the advantage or beauty of this. Yeah, but now I don't remember the column index. So column index, I'm assuming it is in the second column because I just copied the data, comma 0. If you hit enter, wonderful. Yeah. And if I drag it down, you will see I get all of this Priya. If I change this Priya, drop down to something else, you will see the name changes. Yeah. So now you will see I have another problem, right? What do I have to do? I have to write VLOOKUP for each of these. So is there another way to do this? Okay. And this is the trick that I was talking about. And this is like not many people use this or are aware of it. So here VLOOKUP, this is my lookup value, comma, what do I want my table array? We had already given it a name, so I'm going to call it as employee table, comma, the column index. So here what I can do is instead of writing, for each of these, I'm going to use the curly brackets. With curly bracket, I can get all of these. Please remember this will work only in the new versions of Excel. It will not work in the older versions. Okay. So here is, so what are the column index? I need 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I don't know if these details are there, but let me just close that. Okay, so since I opened the flower bracket, I also need to close it, comma 0 at the end. And now you will see I get with one single VLOOKUP, I get the data for all of them. I can also pull it down and you will see, fill it down and you can see I get that data. So using the curly brackets, you will be able to get data from multiple columns, and this does not have to be in that same order. So I could say 2, 7, 3, 4, however you want to retrieve that data, that's completely left to you. So here is that trick on VLOOKUP. I know. Please comment in the section. Please comment and let me know if this kind of helped you. If this kind of blew your mind, please let me know. Okay. Next. So let's look at the next one, which is using wild characters. Now, there are certain, here is a simple example that I'm giving you. I want to find out all those employees or the first employee whose name maybe kind of begins with A. Okay, so our normal VLOOKUPs, if I just say VLOOKUP, I'm going to put that lookup values here, comma, the ID is here, okay, comma, what do I want? I want to return 2, or I want to return the first one itself, comma, 0. And you will see I have NA. So even if I put P, I'm not going to get that because it is trying to look for that exact information. So here is how we can do this. I'm going to say is equal to VLOOKUP. What is my lookup value? It is going to be this. So it is going to start with P, but after that what? So I'm going to use the ampersand symbol. So P, after that in double quotes, I'm going to say star. So what will it do? It is going to look for P followed by, it is going to use the concatenate function. So after P anything. So that is what it is going to look up for. Comma, what is my table array? I'm not including the employee ID. I'm going to look from here because it is looking for the name. In the earlier cases, we were using the employee ID to find, but now we are using the name to find. So that is why we have to use this leftmost column. Comma, what do I want to return? In this, I want to return the name itself. So this is where my table is starting from. It's a classic example of one of the drawbacks of VLOOKUP that your lookup value has to be the leftmost column. So in this case, the name is starting here, and then this is going to be my leftmost column. So this is where my table is. In this table, where is name? Name is in the first column. So that's why I'm going to say 1, 0. I want an exact match. Hit enter. And now you will see if I put P, it is going to give me all those names which begin with P. If I put R, it is going to give me all these names that begin, not all. It is going to give me the first output that begins with R. If I put A, it is going to give me Arjun. If I put AN, you will see it will give me Anjali. Because why? It is going to look for an and then anything after that. So if I want to find out Meena, okay, if I just put E, you will see I'm getting an NA because why? There's nothing that begins with an E. So in that case, if you want to include everything that contains whatever, in that case, what would I do? I will change this to, okay, let me rewrite that for you. So is equal to VLOOKUP. Okay. What is my lookup value? I'm going to say now, I'm going to start with the double quotes here. Double quote, star, double quote, and. So it could be anything before that. And what? And whatever that I put here. So if I put A here, it is going to find anything that contains A, anything beginning with, ending with, all of that. Comma, my table array is still going to be the same, comma, 1, comma, 0. I want to retrieve the name itself, so that. Okay, there's nothing there. So now let's say if I put R, you will see, okay, let's just look at this formula. So I'm getting an NA. Why? Because it is saying it is not available. Okay. To find out what is this searching for, what I'm going to do is, if you see here, right, in the formula bar, I'm going to select both of these. And now I will see here, what is it telling me? You can see it is searching for anything that is star R. Okay, anything that is star R. That is what it is looking for here. Okay. Let us change that now. Let's make that corrections that we need. Anything after, and it could be and another double quotes star. And now you will see it retrieves that, because it was looking for here in this initial case, it was looking, I'm just going to select both of these now. You will see it is looking for anything before R. So basically ending with R. Star R means ending with R. We didn't have any name that is ending with R. But now if I select all of them together, so this still here, what will it be? See this now, you can see it is looking for star R star. So anything that contains R. Yeah. And now you'll see I've got Rahul. Is there any other name that contains R? Karan is there. So maybe I will search AR and see what it is going to give me. Okay, Arjun also contains AR, and that comes before Karan. So that's why if I put KA, let's see what does that give us. Okay, and you will see we are able to get Karan. So if I want anything that ends with something, I just have to put 1 star before our lookup value. If I want containing, then I have to put 2 stars, star, whatever is the value that contains, and this. Okay. This is similar to, okay, in COUNTIF, I don't know if you remember using the while character. So this is one way of using the while characters in your data. Now, if you want to get multiple data, then the VLOOKUP is not going to work. Why? Because the objective of VLOOKUP is to give you only one output. If you want multiple output, we need to use the filter formula. I'll give the link in the description, or the video might be appearing somewhere here. You can click on it and you can have a look at the filter formula. Yeah, so that's how you can get multiple data. Now let us see how to use lookup from multiple tables, how to get data from multiple tables. And here is an example, and this could, see, I've given an example at a single sheet, but this could be from multiple sheets, different workbook, all of that is going to work automatically. And here is the scenario. I'm going to pick one employee ID, and I want to get the name and the gender of that employee ID. Okay. And let's say E001. Okay, I'm going to say is equal to, this is the employee ID, so is equal to VLOOKUP. This is my lookup value, comma, my table array is this, comma, I'm going to use a curly bracket and get both of them. What do I need? I need the name. I know that's in the second column, comma, the gender is in the fourth column. Close my curly brackets, comma, 0 at the end, hit enter, and now you will see I've got this. But now, moment I change this to E007, you will see I'm getting an NA. But I know for sure that this exists. However, it exists in a different table. So for that, what do we do? So now another alternative is you will write another VLOOKUP to look up the information here. So ideally, you will have two different VLOOKUPs. And now what do you want to do? You want to combine that two VLOOKUPs into one. And that is where we are going to use the if NA formula. If NA, there are two values that you can put. One VLOOKUP, which will look up the value here. Another VLOOKUP, which is going to look up the value from here. So let me show you this. So VLOOKUP, this is my lookup value, comma, the table array is going to be this. Okay, comma, in curly brackets 2 comma 4, close curly brackets comma 0, done. Next, so I'm still inside. If you see, this is still valid, comma. If it is not there, then what I will say, do a VLOOKUP. Lookup value is this, comma. Now I will say, please look up in this table, comma, in curly brackets 2 comma 4, close curly brackets comma 0 at the end. And it is, I forgot to put a bracket at the end, so it will say an error. And you will see now, if it's this employee ID, I'm going to get Vikram. If this changes to E003, you will see I get Arjun. So this is how you can look up data from multiple tables. Okay. Like I mentioned, the limitation of this is, okay, let me explain that limitation once again. Okay, is that your lookup value. What is your lookup value? What you are going to use to find, right? That has to be the leftmost column. If, for example, if I move this here, right? If I move this here, okay, and now do a VLOOKUP. Okay, so VLOOKUP, what is my lookup value? This, comma. If I choose this, it is not going to work. Why? Because our VLOOKUP is not the leftmost column. So this employee ID, lookup value has to be in the leftmost column. One way or one alternative to this is I can select from here, see this, I can do this. So now our lookup value becomes the leftmost, but then I cannot get anything before this. So I cannot get the department or name. So this is one of the biggest challenge of VLOOKUP, and that is why they came up with this formula, the latest formula, which is XLOOKUP. Okay, and I'll give a link in the description for you to watch that video as well. If you have any other questions about VLOOKUP, please feel free to ask that in the comments and I'll be more than happy to answer that for you. And if you're aware of any other new features within VLOOKUP, please let me know. Or if you want to, if you have any other challenges with your own VLOOKUP data, please let me know and I'll be happy to answer you. If you like this video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and of course the notification, so that you know you are updated whenever I come out with the video. And I am planning to launch more longer format of videos on Sundays and my regular short content on the weekdays. Thank you so much for your help.